Hello Pisces, right, time for a 3 card reading for you guys. The new moon is going to be in Pisces a couple of days from now, and I just made a video about the astrology of all that. Check it out on my channel, it's there somewhere, but thought it'd be a good day to do a Pisces reading. That's where the inspiration is. So Pisces, what's the inspiration going to be for you? Okay, I'm using Anne Stokes Legends Tarot deck. Okay, there it is. We can see Butterfly Goddess Lady here riding her magical unicorn. That's the kind of energy we're dealing with this deck. It's all about kind of the ancient energies, legendary energies, basically, mythical energies. The kind of energies that people lived by until very recently. In fact, I'd say we all still live by them. We just kind of think we're that bit cleverer and all kind of, reliant on technology these days. But where does it go in matters of the heart? Where does it go in matters of love? Nowhere really, if you ask me. That's a kind of magical thing that happens between people. So, what is the first card? And let me see, right, let's just put these out of the way. It's the Eight of Pentacles. Now I'm seeing a lot of positivity here. It's not a completed journey by any means, but this is really good number to get right at the beginning of a reading. With the number 8, I'm thinking as above, so below. So whatever you're planning, whatever you're thinking about at the moment, and wherever your kind of your psyche is going at the moment, is going to be supported by everyone in the afterlife, for want of a better way of putting it. The psychic energies, the higher realms are in support of you at this moment. I can see you as a butterfly here, kind of hiding away in the middle of the pentagram, but that's no bad place to be. I wouldn't hide there forever though, okay, because those 5 points are going out in all directions, allowing you to push yourself forward in any direction that you really want to, Pisces. Okay, and it's going to be a full, it's going to be a new moon in Pisces within a couple of days of me doing this reading. Never mind if you're watching it in the future, the energy is still good. If you're drawn to a reading, then that reading is for you. Check out my channel, loads and loads of videos on there. But 8 of Pentacles, guys, great energy here, very positive indeed. But some way to go before we reach completion, in terms of numerology. We'd want to be looking at least at the number 10 before we really feel we've got there. And there'd be even more of a journey to come after that. But that's a positive start. Lots of green energy involved, actually everywhere in this deck. But on this, in the Pentacles suit, there's always this laurel wreath around the actual pentagram in the middle of it. So some green energy is going to do you good. If you really want to boost, try and get out into nature somewhere. If you don't have nature around you, then feel the nature underneath the concrete, because all our big major cities, all our massive kind of civil engineering stuff and all that, it's all sitting on top of good old soil. It's all somewhere close to the green energy. It really is, because that's what gives us life, and that's what we've got to try and stay tuned into no matter what. I'm very lucky I live in the countryside, but stay tuned into that green energy, because it really isn't excuse me, it really isn't more than a couple of feet below you, wherever you are in the world. Okay, so let's move on from that nice positive start and see what is the second card in this reading for the sign of Pisces, which I'm doing late February 2020. Best time to watch it, as I was saying, is right now. And 10 of Swords, right now then, there's a thing. Now this is the heart of the matter. This is the middle card of the spread. It's just a short spread because I found I can't make long videos upload. 'Tis a fact of life, my friends. What can I do about it? But that sword is coming down like a dagger there, and wherever we've got to make decisions, the thoughts and feelings and sort of all the cups type energy of desire gets involved with that as well, Pisces. But it really is about making some kind of decisive thing happen when we get this card. Okay, now there are 10 circles within this, so there are a lot of different influences and a lot of different energies pushing and pulling, but we are very, very close to completion with the 10. It's air sign energy, it's Gemini, it's Libra, it's Aquarius, somewhere in your chart or somewhere around you. It really is, okay? So be aware of that. If you haven't had a birth chart, get done, do look around the internet. Any of the big astrology websites will actually do you a birth chart. But somehow you're going to have to make that decision before you make that move. In fact, you're going to have to make a lot of decisions. But just go with the flow. Go with, go with your gut feeling, really, Pisces. That's the thing to do. I know you guys have a lot of concerns for other people, and maybe it's not that easy to be decisive. It probably isn't with the Ten of Swords coming up, I should think. But do try and, at least move towards the idea of making a decision, okay? Because life has a story. And, psychologists even, very clinical, scientific psychologists see this in life. A lot of mental illness comes when the story of life somehow gets interrupted. We, as a human beings, we need to have a story and be somewhere in a storyline for things to make sense. Okay, so don't prevaricate, don't put off that decision forever. So we started off with 8 of Pentacles there, very earthy. That would be Taurus, Virgo or Capricorn energy around you, Pisces, or somewhere in your chart. And actually looking very, very positive. So it looks as if we're standing in quite a good place, even though it's going to be tricky to get everything decided, even though it's going to be tricky to work out what's happening. In matters of love, there is a lot of it about, but that Ten of Swords thing really says you've got to really think about who it's about, and it's not just about the other person, no matter how significant they might be, and I guess very significant, but you are significant too. It's possible to get into a relationship that simply doesn't serve you, so do think about that, and don't be bullied into anything, basically. That's the main thing. And I'm going back to the 8 of Pentacles when I say that, because that's really important. Everywhere we look, there are people trying to push us in one way or another, particularly in matters of love, but I'm afraid that's their tough luck. If their energy doesn't work with you, that's just their tough luck. If you're thinking of leaving a relationship, right, be aware that you guys got together in the first place for a reason, so do take it quite seriously. There's big decisions going on there, okay? Now, it didn't show up in the camera terribly well, but let me see if I can make it kind of come out a bit. Right in the handle of this sword, and this appears in all the sword cards in the Anne Stokes Legends deck, right just about where my finger is it? No, right just about where my finger is now, there is a ruby there, okay? So thoughts of grounding, thoughts of that kind of ruby red, which has to do with connections to other people in spiritualism. It's a colour of giving. If we get that around a spirit being who's coming in, they have had some kind of, not necessarily a life of service, but a life that has included serving other people, okay? Don't get too bogged down in serving other people, Pisces, but do be aware of it, because you guys are who you guys are. It's a fact. Okay, so I'm still shuffling, and I'm asking for the 3rd card in this spread for the sign of Pisces. This will be the outcome card, but we'll do a couple of oracle cards then to see where we're going from there. Okay, and they're falling all over the place. I've got 2 for the price of 1 here that fell out at the same time. Okay, let's go with the first one that fell out. 7 of Swords, actually. So we're stepping back a bit from the complication of the 10 of Swords that we just got there. There's a lot of fire indicated. See the sort of up here. It's really hard to see on the screen, but just up there, there's a flame. That's the significatory symbol for the sword suit in the Anne Stokes Legends deck. And not actually fire signs energy, exactly. It's air signs, it's Gemini, it's Libra, it's Aquarius. But there's a need for balance always with the swords, because they are always about decisions. And when we get the sword cards, we need to think very carefully about those decisions. But as much as we think about them, we do need to actually act on them. We do need to actually make them happen. Now, 7, it's as if we've stepped back a bit from the 10. It's as if we've made a little few sort of steps backwards in terms of making progress. That is not a bad thing at all, friends. 1 step forward and kind of 2 steps back isn't great, but 10 steps forward and 3 steps back is no bad thing at all, okay? It's going to make for a much more concrete decision. It's going to make for something that, a situation really that makes a lot more sense, okay? So give that some thought. Do give that some thought. And at the same time as that came out, we've got the 3 of Wands here. So there we are. Here's something to look back on. We could easily have lost sight of this. We really could. But the 3 of Wands is all about in the Rider-Waite deck, you know, the more traditional sort of tarot image. There's a character standing and he's looking out to sea in Tarot in Wonderland, which I'll be back with very soon, actually, that I usually use. With Tarot in Wonderland, it's someone looking at his watch and wondering, you know, are the ships coming in? Will the ships that come in actually have some kind of reward on there? And the answer should be yes, okay? Because with this card, we have put in enough effort, we have put in enough energy, and there's nothing much more that we can do now. We've sown the seeds, we've tended them as best we can, and whatever is going to grow as a harvest is going to grow as a harvest. It's kind of too late to change things. Okay, now that's going with the 7 of Swords there. That's going with the kind of stop and think feeling that we got with the 7 of Swords. But whereas the 7 of Swords is a fiery card, and so is the 10 of Swords, of course, this has got a leaf, okay? So very much green energy, like the green colour of the card. So there's a feeling of getting back towards nature there. There really is. Now, as a wand card, this is a fire sign card. It's Leo, it's Sagittarius, it's Aries, somewhere in your birth chart. But it is also equally going with the air signs, Gemini, Libra and Aquarius here, because these two absolutely go together. So as you've stepped back from the 10 of Swords that we had as the heart of the matter here, as you've stepped back to think about things a bit more before you go ahead and make that decision, and do go ahead and make that decision, Pisces, but take this into account first, okay? There's the 7 of Swords, there's that feeling, and, you know, really importantly here, the 3 of Wands, okay? I'm not going to say your ship is going to come in tomorrow, but your ship is on its way in, and there's very little you can do to change the fate of things that's been set up now. You've already played into the situation as much as you can, as far as I can see with that one. Okay, well, let's pop that deck down and let's look for some significatory kind of backup, some support for what we're saying about this Pisces reading here. I'm going to use Kyle Gray's Keepers of the Light deck. This is a fantastic deck out of Hay House. It's very similar in its approach and in its meaning to the Ascended Masters deck, the old favourite Doreen Virtue Ascended Masters deck. It's newer than that. It's got a fresh look at many of the same characters, and it's got some new characters in there as well. The Ascended Masters and most of the characters represented in this deck are the Ascended Masters are people who lived in this world, lived this life, and had a very positive influence, a strong spiritual effect on the world and the people around them as they lived out their existence. For example, you know, if you're not a Christian, if you are a Christian, you might not like this view of it. It's up to you. But if you're not a Christian, you might appreciate that, nevertheless, Jesus, whether he physically existed or not, and I for one, actually, I believe in all the Jesus stories, I really do, but I know not everybody does, and you know, even if you absolutely don't believe in Jesus as a God figure or anything like that, someone who lived that life and had that much positive effect that we're all still kind of fairly buzzing about it 2,000 years later was a really fantastic influence in this world, and lived a life worth living, and so we would then see him as an Ascended Master. In fact, I think whether you're a Christian or not, you would see him as an Ascended Master, really, if the truth be told. Okay, so I better turn over the Jesus card now. I've certainly done a description of it anyway. But what is the card on the top after all that shuffling? Joan of Arc, Voice of Truth. I got this in another reading the other day, actually. So this is a very salient energy at the moment. And what does she say? Stand strong, focus on your purpose, release the fear of persecution and speak your truth. Now that is really, really a lot to do with all of these cards, really, because with the Eight of Pentacles we're seeing the as above so below figure of eight thing. That's a purple card, by the way. There's some need for healing there, and that's being answered with the purple edge on the Joan of Arc card here. So there is some healing needed, but it's around you. It's actually happening. Nothing to actually be too concerned or worried about there. It is happening. It is actually all going on, Pisces. Okay, but the voice of truth, that's what really matters, okay? And that's what's going to help you cut through all the craziness as you try to make this Ten of Swords decision, as you try to make this Seven of Swords decision. And coming to the Three of Wands, you know, the truth is what the truth is. The work has been done. Things are the way they are, right? I used to have a friend who used to say, things go the way they go and there's nothing we can do about it. Well, there's plenty we can do about things in some ways, because whatever lies ahead of us is always worth thinking about, you know, because we are all moving into the future. Tomorrow is always going to be the first day of the rest of our lives. So it is worth putting the thought in, it is worth putting the effort in, but the Three of Wands says it is what it is and it's on its way in, whatever it is, okay? So stand strong, says Joan of Arc. Focus on your purpose. Release the fear of persecution and speak your truth. Now, all along through this reading, Pisces, I've felt that there might be someone around you. Perhaps you're in a relationship you want to leave, or perhaps you want to be in a relationship and there's some friend kind of leaning on you not to do it. Never mind what other people say. Never mind what other people think. You've been given this life, Pisces, because you are you, and you must walk your own path, because quite honestly you're going to end up walking your own path anyway. You're doing it now. If I listened to everything that other people said, I would probably never leave the house. Some might think that's a good thing, actually, and there's been times when I wished I hadn't left the house, but you know, I'm glad to be who I am with whatever goes with my life, whatever it's all about. I'm glad to be who I am, and as long as I'm glad to be who I am, I'm facing in the right direction, you know, because we all come to this earth with some kind of plan, with some kind of forward motion in mind for us. So, voice of truth, speak your truth, Pisces. Stand strong, focus on that Pisces purpose, and focus on what you really want to be having in relationships with life, the universe, and everything, not just lovers, because those are all relationships. Release the fear of persecution. Never mind what other people say, and speak your truth. Right, there will be people, no doubt, because there always are, there will be people who say, okay, you've got to speak your truth, and I'm going to tell you what your truth is. But no way, you know what your truth is. If you're not sure what your truth is, take some time in meditation, because there is time here. There's all the time in the world in so many ways. Rushing into a thing is never going to make it any better. Okay, so that is the Pisces reading for this time at the Pisces new moon. Hope everyone has a fantastic new moon weekend. Hope everyone has a fantastic life, and I hope your kind of life and loves are all kind of got their ducks in a row and going in the direction that brings you a lot of happiness. If you've enjoyed this one, guys, if you think I've earned it, please give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. It's great to share the journey. It's great to zero in to who I'm doing these readings actually for. Share me around social media if you possibly can. That really helps. And don't forget to subscribe. That's it. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss anything. There are more readings coming out of me all the time. I do some every day. It's the way I am. I'm a reader. What else can I do? I'm in my own shell, and that's it. So there are about kind of 600 plus readings on my channel at the moment. So subscribe, tap the bell. Do have a look through my channel, you know. If you're drawn to a reading, it's for you. Even if it's not for your star sign, even if I did it kind of 3 years ago or something, check it out, because it's there for you, Pisces, or whoever else is watching. Thanks very much for watching this one. I'll be along again very soon, and find the button. Peace.